Hi there, it's Turan here from Feel Good Hypnosis, and I'm here today at Bishop's Court Racing Track in Downpatrick in Northern Ireland. But back in the 1990s it was more than just a racing track. Having been a wartime airfield, it was also home to an enthusiastic bunch of skydivers. And this video is about Joanne, one of those skydivers. On the 1st of April 1995, what should have been an enjoyable skydive from 6,500 feet turned into disaster when not only the main parachute opened, but also her auxiliary parachute, causing the two to tangle together and effectively giving her no air brake as she fell quickly to the ground. Joanne suffered trauma for 25 years. She couldn't return to this site, she couldn't write about her trauma, her recovery, a story she wanted to share with others. But she came to me for hypnosis, and as thanks to the hypnosis, you'll hear in this video how within 2 days Joanne came back here to Bishop's Court, to the site where it all happened. And she's now feverishly writing her story and getting ready to share that story with others. It's a very empowering story. You'll see images of the site where it all happened, now covered by trees, but back then just saplings. You'll see exactly where it all took place and hear Joanne's story of how hypnosis has helped change her life and empower her to tell her story. You'll also hear from Joe, her husband, who was the instructor at the time and saw her fall. It's a very empowering story, as I say. It's a very enjoyable story. I want to thank Joanne for sharing this with us today. And, well, I'll say no more, but let's hear from Joanne and Joe. Could you have come here before we'd worked together?
I don't think so. No, I wasn't ready for it. I was under a lot of pressure, but it would just be one more thing that I knew I had to sort out, but I hadn't. I had just remembered it as a story. So part of going to you know, with hypnotism, I know that could have done the freedom, and that you were the reason why it worked for me with you was because we did know each other a bit, but it's your calmness and your acceptance of what the other person is saying that definitely made it different. I could relate to you very, very easily. So the way you did the visualization and the way you moved in to trance mode without me knowing, and the relaxation that I got from that, it did clear my head. It let me focus on my subconscious mind instead of everything that was going on around it. So that's the difference, because I left feeling really rejuvenated, really confident that I got rid of a lot that was holding me back. That is what I got from that day. So when I went home, I think it was on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, on the Friday morning we woke up and it was a day like this, because this is exactly the same type of day as it was when I was jumping. Just right, let's go today. We'd been talking about it for a long time. I've been talking about putting my thoughts down on paper for a long time, but just couldn't do it. So this really has been an eye-opener and opened up a whole can of worms, but a positive can of worms. And it didn't re-traumatise me, it upset me a bit coming back, but I didn't know how I'd react. So I think for me, I was bound to get a whole blast of emotions, but that's okay. The memories then began to turn into gratitude and happiness that I actually survived. So everything was turned on its head, whereas it could have been me coming down here being totally re-traumatised and then dwelling on it whenever I left. But it wasn't. It was certainly upsetting at the time because it was so overwhelming, but that only lasted for a couple of minutes. And then because my daughter was with me too, that level of gratitude, because she wouldn't be here if I hadn't survived that. So the positive feelings overruled the negative feelings, and I find that since I've worked with you, then I can change that round much faster myself. So I'm going away now, which I couldn't have done next week. I'm going away for 3 days and locking myself away for 3 days to get as much written down as I can, and I would have had to take it in little chunks. So I would have had to write maybe 300 or 400 words, and then it was too much, and then I'd have to come back. But I feel now that I'm confident enough to sit down and get all all the experiences down, all the examples down, and just do it. And that's the difference. It's just not putting it off any longer. It wasn't the actual event. It's never the actual event. It's how you feel around it. It's not that you had this accident and physically you repaired yourself and went on, but the effect that it has of closing you off from your feelings and the trauma that stops you, and you don't know what it is, but it's there. So by you using the visualization, that was just what you know about me is me being, that's the way I learn, that's the way I look at things, to actually be able to pull out the black and the darkness and the whatever else wasn't just the accident, it's all the feelings. And I think doing the hypnotherapy was clearing. It makes you focus and clear. So whenever you're every day and you've got your conscious mind is just taking in everything around you, you don't have time to concentrate on that subconscious mind to actually deal with those emotions. And that's what it was that was told. We didn't need to go through the whole story, and I had thought at one stage I was talking to you about I want to go back and see it through hypnotherapy, but that wouldn't have been right. So the way I described it to you was like feeling like I had something sitting on my chest and in my chest and negative wrapped around my heart. So after I went to you and I walked out, that had been replaced. The dark colour wasn't the dark colour anymore, it was pure white. So whenever I went to you, it opened up the whole way of looking at that. So therefore I was feeling old, but now I'm sort of feeling, well, of course I have. Of course I've got pain now, I fell out of the sky. So I've now acknowledged what I've actually done and how I've got over that, and this is all I have. A bit of pain, grand. That's fine. It's bound to be, and it's just how I'm going to live with that now. And it was all so clear, and I've always thought, well, I can't remember, it was 25 years ago, but it was like it was the same day. I want to sort things out now. I want to get to the bottom of things. I want to know more about how trauma works. So I'm open to a lot more. The power of hypnotism is amazing. So it's opened a can of worms for my husband too, who's never spoken about it until now. So for us the impact has been massive because we are remembering things now, we're going through shared memories, but most of all we're going through the fun of it. The fun that we had those 3 years.
I have noticed the change in her. So much more positive and able to actually even to contemplate coming down and be able to do it. She's been so much more positive. It's been amazing to see. It really has. Thanks very much for helping her. I really appreciate it.